manifesting as the goddess, we receive these gifts as a sacred offering, celebrating our interconnectedness with all of life. May they nourish us and strengthen us, that we may be capable of bringing benefit to all we touch. Welcome to Star Circle Season 3, Episode 2. Today I'm going to talk to you about the 5-element theory. The 5-element theory is a concept that takes certain forces of nature, fire, earth, metal, water, and wood, and applies them to the human body. This theory helps us to understand the various functions of the body and how they relate to nature. Most of us are born with one element predominant. It's up to us to identify our element and learn how to take care of it. Even though one element is usually dominant, the energy of all the elements is strong during various times of the day, the year, and throughout our lives. Thus, we may feel more energy from our less dominant elements at various times throughout life. I'm going to describe each element and how it applies to nature and the body throughout our life. Let's start with wood. Like bamboo, wood element people can be strong and flexible. They tend to be thinner, with chiseled features and well-defined muscles. They can be short-tempered and prone to emotional outbursts as well. Wood elements tend to have more olive-toned and oily skin than other elements. The liver and the gallbladder are the organs related to the wood element. The liver is in charge of storing and moving the blood. It plays a big role in sleep and in the menstrual cycle for women. The gallbladder is seen as the judge of the body. When you're having difficulty making decisions in life, it can be related to gallbladder deficiency. The wood element rules the ligaments and tendons. The associated emotions with the wood element are anger, resentment, jealousy, envy, and frustration. Overindulgence is a problem for people of this element, and they may tend to overdo things in many aspects of their life. You can hear an excessive wood element person when you enter a crowded room, as they are often the loudest ones. Spring is the time of year when this element should be at its strongest. Birth to adolescence is the developmental phase of life that is dominated by the wood element. I'm going to list some traits that are associated with the wood element. In general, the strengths of each element are displayed when the person is healthy, living a balanced life, and has a good understanding of themselves and the world around them. The weaknesses of each element become more prevalent when a person is out of balance, sick, run down, not taking care of themselves, or have little introspection or understanding of the world around them. Strengths for the wood element include resilience, quick-witted, flexible, resourceful, shrewd, detailed, fierce, independent, determined, kind, loyal, generous, protective, physically strong, athletic, and perseverant. Again, weaknesses when the wood element is out of balance include stubbornness, manipulative, dependent, lazy, superficial, attention-seeking, melodramatic, too sensitive, low self-esteem, selfish, rigid, aggressive, vain, critical, weak ligaments and tendons, eye problems, and addiction. So how do we nourish our wood element? Bamboo is the representative symbol of the wood element. Wood element people are strong, flexible, and able to withstand the occasional storms that blow through life. They're versatile and sturdy. Because the liver and gallbladder are representative organs of this element, wood element people need to take care of their liver and gallbladder. They are prone to overindulgence in substances and behaviors, so they need to be mindful of life choices. From 3 p.m. to 3 a.m., the wood element is predominant in our 24-hour clock. It's important to be asleep during these hours so that your liver has the opportunity to perform all its vital functions. If being asleep by 11 p.m. isn't in your schedule, at least be winding it down by then. Your ethereal spirit resides in your liver. Not resting during this time can lead to mania, or at least poor decision making and cranky feelings the next day. Spring is the time of year for the wood element and the liver and gallbladder. This is the perfect time of year for moderate cleansing. Your appetite should naturally decrease during the spring. It's a great time to eat more raw and young foods such as sprouts. The cooking of food should be kept to a minimum or not at all. If you do cook your food, go with lightly steamed or sauteed. Here's a list of food and spices to eat in the spring that benefit your wood element. Raw food, sprouts, dark green leafy vegetables, spirulina, seaweed, chlorophyll, young and baby starchy vegetables such as beets and carrots, basil, fennel, rosemary, dill, bay leaf, cumin, ginger, horseradish, honey, vinegar, asparagus, quinoa, radish, citrus peel, cucumber, parsley, and kale. Foods or habits to avoid are large meals, processed saturated fats, processed and refined foods, excess nuts and seeds, excess meat and cheese, pesticide intoxicants, and prescription drugs. Looking at the phases of our life, 0 through 7 years for both sexes, this time from conception until 7 years of age is the developmental cycle. This is the wood phase of life, so it is normal to see young children experimenting with how to express their emotions, especially anger. Everything about these little humans is developing and growing at this time, and good nutrition is at the cornerstone of building a healthy human being. Both parents should be at optimal health at the time of conception. The mother should limit or at least manage her stress during the pregnancy as well as being vigilant about her diet and the fuel she is putting into her body. Once the child is born, it's important to be mindful about what the child is exposed to, including emotionally, physically, chemically, in their foods. Many children are suffering from allergies these days, and those symptoms can be widely ranging and often include behavioral issues. Watch for signs of allergic reactions and have your children tested if necessary to ensure proper nutrition for the needs of each individual. Women's cycles are a little shorter and they run in 7-year cycles. So by the age 7, a girl's kidney energy becomes abundant. Around this time, girls begin to transition from toddlers into girls. They may no longer need as much parental support and are becoming more self-confident and learning to interact with their peers. I like to call this time as the age of reason, when you can start to explain things to them in a reasonable way and they can comprehend. They are still in the wood phase of their life and should learn to express anger and associated emotions in a healthy way. It's important to limit their exposure to toxins to help minimize any damage to the liver. The fire element. Fire element people are fair-skinned with reddish complexion. The person may have a pointier head and delicate features. Fire element types are also known for their robust personalities. The fire element is unusual in that it has 4 organs associated with it: the heart, small intestines, pericardium, and sanjiao. The heart is seen as the emperor in traditional Chinese medicine, and we don't treat the heart directly. Instead, we strengthen other organs so they will in turn nourish the heart. The pericardium is the heart's protector. The small intestines help us to sort things out both from a nutrition and emotional perspective. The sanjiao is an organ in the Oriental medicine described as a bag that envelopes all the organs, and it helps to increase communication between the organs, systems, and elements. The emotion associated with the fire element is joy and the ability to experience happiness and contentment in our lives. The fire element person can be boisterous and excitable. They tend to focus on their own needs. They like the finer things in life and to be the center of attention. They can have red hair, red complexion, and delicate features. The cardiovascular system is part of the fire element. Those with heart disease have an imbalance in their fire element and would benefit from nourishing their fire element. Summer is the season of the fire element. The developmental phase is from adolescence to early adulthood. Below is the list of strengths and weaknesses associated with the fire element. Creativity, generosity, expressiveness, optimistic, confident, friendly, energetic, committed, loyal, considerate, intelligent, loving, charismatic, and the ability to fully appreciate and enjoy life. Weaknesses we see when the fire element is out of balance: egotistical, cautious, unrealistic, aloof, self-centered, insensitive, habitual, narrow-minded, unstable, critical, complaining, needy, and prone to cardiovascular disease. Ways we nourish the fire element: they can be prone to inflammation and cardiovascular disease, like I've already said. In order to prevent pain and disease, we need to eat cooling foods, greens, and bitters. Additional ways to nourish the fire element are to rest and take it easy regularly. Protect your cardiovascular system with essential fatty acids in your daily diet. Exercise moderately and frequently, like walking, yoga, or cycling. And ingest antioxidants like vitamin C, selenium, and CoQ enzyme 10. From 11 a.m. to 3 p.m., the fire element is at its hottest and most active time of the day, but one should also nap, rest, and meditate during these hours to nourish the heart. You may feel full of passion, and it would be a good opportunity to create art and express your passion in constructive and healthy ways. The fire element is the only element that appears twice in our 24-hour clock. So from 7 p.m. to 11 p.m., we also have the fire element strongest. We may notice an increase in energy during these hours. This is a good time to enjoy social activity, sharing a light meal with friends or family, working out, or some interaction with other humans. Again, you may feel more creative and passionate during this time of day. Should find a healthy outlet for that energy. Summer season is the season of the year for the fire element, and when the heart, small intestines, pericardium, and sanjiao are the strongest. It's the time of year to feel most in harmony with nature and the weather. This is the time to allow the bountiful harvests, abundant sunshine, flourishing gardens to enliven us. During the summer months, we should focus on eating brightly colored fruits and vegetables. Every meal should be a piece of Mother Nature's artwork. It is best to consume raw foods during this time of year or cook your food lightly, relying more on steaming and stir frying. Remember to use less salt and drink more water. To avoid getting too much heat, be sure to occasionally drink warm liquids and take warm showers, allowing the surface of the body to open and let the heat out. Good foods for summer are fruits, flowers, cucumber, bitter greens, watermelon, lemons, limes, spicy red and green chili, fresh ginger, horseradish, and black pepper. Foods to avoid or decrease in the summer: heavy, rich meats, dairy, eggs, excess nuts, seeds, and grains, excessively cold or sweet foods or drinks. Cold drinks are to be avoided in the summer. Eating less and lightly on hot, bright days is a natural, healthy practice, one that is often forgotten. That is a quote by Paul Pitchford in Healing with Whole Foods. So, looking at the phase of our lives, around the age of 14 for girls, menstruation begins. That is when girls begin to transition into the fire phase of life. Although a girl is able to conceive a child at this point, it is better for her long-term health to postpone until she's in a stronger phase of life. The fire phase coincides with raging hormones. It is important at this time for girls to avoid foods or medications that disrupt natural hormone flow, and that they minimize exposure to chemicals that reduce the endocrine system, such as BPA and atrazine. Most products with artificial flavors, colors, and odors are known as endocrine disruptors. For more information on endocrine disruptors, look at the work of Dr. Theo Colburn. Earth is at the center of the five element theory. Earth element people are seen as the peacemakers, and they tend to have round, smiley faces. Earth types can be voluptuous. They may have darker complexion. They enjoy showing how they care through food and tend to be great listeners and friends. The representative organs are the spleen and stomach. The spleen is responsible for creating the chi and blood of the body, while the stomach breaks down the food. The pancreas falls into the earth element as well because it plays such a key role in digestion and energy levels of the body. Earth element's main focus is on digestion and overall energy production. When in balance, earth element people are strong, grounded, happy people that again like to connect with people around food. They're often the ones that make sure everyone's having a good time. They tend to be closer to the ground with thicker thighs. A smile usually predominates their round face. When out of balance, worry, anxiety, stress, and overthinking are emotions and behaviors that can be common for earth element people. All element types would benefit from spending more time outdoors, but especially the earth type. Late summer and early fall is the time of year associated with the earth element, and an earth element person should be feeling their best during this time of year. Adulthood is the period of life that correlates with earth element and is the time of life when it feels normal to cultivate a life. When earth element is balanced, people tend to be creative and productive, realistic, stable, persistent, wise, trustworthy, kind, understanding, open-minded, friendly, supportive, capable, creative, productive, peaceful, maternal, intuitive, patient, and strong digestion. When earth element is out of balance, we're stubborn, indecisive, perfectionistic, emotional, loners, inconsistent, moody, sacrificial, possessive, controlling, dependent, stubborn, spoiled, pessimistic, incessant worry, food sensitivities, and digestive complaints. So let's talk about how we nourish our earth element. Since earth element people are people pleasers and they want to be sure everyone is having a good time and they like to show their affection through food, worry can be a detrimental emotion. Overthinking and everything and everyone else can lead to digestive problems. Earth element people, therefore, would benefit from journaling, talking about and releasing their worries. Additional ways to nourish this element include consume a diet of well-cooked foods, including grains, root vegetables, and small amounts of meat. Get out and connect with the earth on a regular basis. A walk in nature, gardening, or other earthing techniques, like bare feet directly on Earth's natural surface. There's emerging research that shows connecting to the planet with bare skin is a beneficial health practice that helps to strengthen the immune system and improves the function of red blood cells. Let go of worry and doubt. From 7 a.m. to 11 a.m., the earth element is predominant in our 24-hour clock. This is when digestion should be strongest and the largest meal of the day should be consumed. During these hours, you should also have creative energy and feel most productive. Remember, we said the earth element is at the center of the five element theory. So this means there are several times during the year when earth element is strongest. During the short period of time during the transition between the expansion and growth of summer into the cool and inward time of fall. And then earth element is also strongest during the equinoxes and the solstices, as these are pivotal pauses in the light patterns we experience from the sun. During these times, food should be prepared simply and with minimal spices. Beneficial foods that harmonize the earth element are ancient non-GMO grains, corn, carrots, cabbage, chickpeas, squash, potatoes, string beans, yams, tofu, sweet potatoes, rice, chestnuts, apricots, and cantaloupe. During the earth element time, we should avoid large meals. I guess in general, we should avoid large meals, late night eating, meals with too many ingredients, processed sweeteners, chemically treated food, excessive cold or raw food, citrus, industrial dairy, too many cooling greens, and deep fried or greasy foods. Now, by the age of 21, the kidney energy is at the strongest, and women should be in their best physical shape. At this time, they're beginning to transition into the earth phase of life and should begin the process of building a life. Around age 28, the female body is abundant with the most essence, chi, and blood circulation. The muscles and tendons are at their strongest, and the hair should be strong and vibrant. From an Eastern perspective, somewhere in this 7-year period is the best time to have children, if that is on your agenda. This is the height of the earth phase of life, and a woman should be in full swing creating her life. Now, there's some important things you can do for yourself if you do decide that having children is for you, because making humans is no easy feat, and it should not be taken lightly. This is the time of life to nourish yourself through good nutrition and mental well-being. Limit physical and emotional stress as much as possible. Remember, this is a temporary phase, and it will pass. Your life may never be the same again, but your body will become yours again someday. We highly recommend getting a doula for the pregnancy, labor, and delivery, and seeking the help of natural health care providers in conjunction with Western medical practitioners to oversee the care of your entire family from an integrative approach. If you are able to support my podcast, it would be greatly appreciated. Anchor has a system where you may do a recurring donation of 99 cents, $4.99, or $10 or $9.99. And of course, you could discontinue at any time. Go to anchor.fm/rev.dr.jude to set that up. And thank you very much. Okay, moving on to metal. Metal is symmetrical and structured. Metal element people tend to be taller and not very curvy. They have lighter complexions and often have small, fine hairs all over their body. Meticulous, organized, and scheduled are words often used to describe the metal element person. They like to be in a supervisory position and make sure things are running smoothly. Like a sword, metal element people are able to reach their full potential when they are forged under pressure early in life. This type does well when they experience a more turbulent upbringing or experience a high pressure career early on. If their life is too easy, they can become lazy and complaining. Metal element people tend to be very symmetrical in their physical features. They tend to have a lighter, drier skin and square shoulders. Grief and sadness can be a common response to stress. However, metal element people don't dwell in the past. They would rather plan for the future. The lung and large intestines are the associated organs. The lungs and the entire respiratory system are responsible for creating the defensive qi and immune system. The large intestines are mainly for removing unwanted waste from the body. Modern research is showing that up to 60% of our immune function is based on our gut health, our microbiome, and how well we are digesting and absorbing our food. It's critically important that we take care of both the immune and digestive systems. Probiotics can be very beneficial to all elements, but to metal element people in particular. The metal element should be the strongest during the fall, the great transition of life, aka menopause or midlife crisis, is during the time of the metal element. This is when women are going through menopause and men start to go through a transition as well. They may not yet be a name for this transition for men, but there is definitely a time when men shift their thinking and feeling as well, usually somewhere between their 40s and 60s. It's normal at this phase of life to shift from the desire to cultivate and build to more appreciation and enjoyment of what you have done. Strengths when the metal element is imbalanced are realistic, hardworking, do well under pressure, strong, altruistic, loyal, systematic, determined, authoritative, responsible, fair, elegant, cultured, witty, eloquent, intuitive, meticulous, sensitive, multi-talented, good speakers, strong voice, excellent at getting their point across. Continuing on with the weaknesses we see when the metal element is not balanced. Inflexible, judgmental, loner, overcompetitive, enemy makers, impulsive, image-driven, proud, rough, show-off, vain, know-it-all, perfectionist, fickle, aloof, oversensitive, weak digestion, allergies, and chronic bronchial problems. Now, looking at how to nourish our metal element, meticulous, scheduled, and well thought out are ways to describe a typical metal element personality. They're organized and bring structure to an environment they're in. Grief and sadness are emotions that can dominate this element. It's important for this type to release their grief and sadness when it comes up. Holding on to it can lead to dis-ease. Tears, talking, and journaling are all good ways to release sadness. Cortisol is the hormone that is produced by the body as a response to stress. When there is excess cortisol in our body, it can lead to inflammation, giving the liver a lot of extra work. Tears are the only way to remove the cortisol molecule in its whole form from the body. So when you're stressed, crying can be the quickest way to get past it. Other ways to nourish the metal element are regular skincare routines, such as exfoliating and body brushing, moderate exposure to direct sunlight, around 30 minutes a day, or to at least half of the body. Boost immune function by taking antioxidants, probiotics, and vitamins. Washing your hands, eating healthy, getting plenty of rest, and exercise regularly. Dryness can be an issue for this group, so be sure to drink plenty of fluids and moisturize your skin with natural oils such as coconut. Now, from 3 a.m. to 7 a.m. in our 24-hour clock, the metal element is predominant for all of us. So for optimal health, one should wake up and start their day sometime between these hours. It's great to do some light exercise in the morning, like yoga or qigong. If in good health, this is when you should have a bowel movement. Autumn or fall is the time of year when the metal element and the lungs and large intestines are at their strongest and most vulnerable, depending on how imbalanced the person is. This is the time of year to begin contracting and reserving one's energy in preparation for the coming winter. Baking is the preferred method of cooking during this time of year. In general, more sour and spicy foods should be consumed during this time. Foods like spicy chili, sourdough bread, sauerkraut, olives, garlic, ginger, radish, white peppercorn, pickles, leeks, vinegar, cheese, yogurt, lemons, limes, grapefruit, sour apples, plums, and grapes. Dryness is common during this time of year, and in order to prevent it from damaging the body, one should consume moisturizing foods like spinach, barley, millet, pear, apple, persimmon, seaweed, nopales, almond, pine nut, sesame seeds, flax seeds, honey, grass-fed dairy products in small amounts, healthy animal fats, coconut oil, and poultry. Plant fiber is also a key nutritional component to maintaining good health, especially in the large intestine. The next phase of our life begins around 35 years old. It is said that the energy or chi of the body will begin to decline at this time. This phase of life is the beginning of the transition from the earth phase to the metal phase. By this point, one should be enjoying all that she has created in life and feel satisfied. Women may begin to notice less of an urge to create and more of a desire to enjoy life. It's very important that women take good physical and emotional care of themselves during this phase of life. The better we nourish and understand ourselves through each phase, the easier the transitions are. Somewhere around age 42, women will be moving into the metal phase of life. Menopause will begin with, and one naturally loses her fertility. This time of life is meant to be about maintenance and more than creation. Women must continue to maintain health and a healthy lifestyle during these years. And the last element is water. Flowing, compassionate, and having great depth of character describes the water element personality. They tend to be quiet and reserved and conserve their energy. They prefer not to force themselves or their ideals on others. They tend to be tall with long fingers, toes, and earlobes. They can detox easily through their skin and tend to sweat more than the other elements. Fear is the emotion commonly associated with the water element, and fear may be a common response to stress for water element people. The kidneys and urinary bladder are the representative organs for the water element, and you can see why, as they are chiefly responsible for water regulation in the body in both Western and Eastern medicine. Winter is the time of year for the water element. The phase of life is after one has completed the transition in life until death. The kidneys are where our ancient or genetic information is stored. If creating humans is on your to-do list, you will want to do all you can to nourish your kidneys. Your willpower is also said to come from your kidney energy and water element. If you feel you're lacking willpower, add some kidney nourishing activities to your routine. Strengths when the water element is in balance are innovation, courageousness, realistic, adaptable, intelligent, adventurous, sociable, visionary, precise planners, out-of-the-box thinkers, great debaters, idea generators, strong knees and backs, and the ability to flow with any situation. Weaknesses when the water element is not in balance: drifter, easily unfocused, selfish, easily influenced, overly independent, moody, pessimistic, extremist, loner, easily unfocused, unpredictable, weak knees and back, and can be paralyzed with fear. How we nourish our water element. Given that water people can be elegant, graceful, and easygoing, when in good health, they are great at facilitating the flow of energy and conversation between people. They make great negotiators because they are receptive as well as persistent and persuasive. Mountains are turned into sand by water. When out of balance, the water element people can be fearful, we have said, and they might find themselves frozen or stuck in their life, paralyzed by fear. So to nourish your water element, be sure you're consuming enough sea salt in your diet. Protect your low back and kidneys. Staying hydrated cannot be overemphasized. Become conscious of your fears and acknowledge and release them through talking, journaling, meditation, and ceremony. Detoxify your kidneys occasionally and be mindful of your urogenital health. 3 p.m. to 7 p.m. is the water element time during our 24-hour clock. This should be the quiet, reflective time of day and is a great time for meditation and journaling. Be sure to drink plenty of water during these hours to flush out the kidneys and urinary bladder. Winter is the time of year that correlates with the water element, the kidney and the urinary bladder. During winter, things are at their lowest, slowest, and most retracted. Winter is the yin time of year and perfect for rest and reflection. Being indoors and introspective should come naturally this time of year. The flavors of this element are salty and bitter, which help to create a more centered feeling. In general, food should be cooked longer and at lower temperature. Beneficial foods are hearty soups and stews, whole grains, roasted nuts, seaweed, dark beans, and winter greens should be on the menu. Other food options are lettuce, dark greens, asparagus, alfalfa, carrot tops, oats, and quinoa. Small and regular amounts of bitter foods in the winter nurture deep inner experiences and joy in the heart. That's another quote by Paul Pitchford in Healing with Whole Foods. Sometime around 49, the transition of the metal phase and menopause will come to an end. Women begin to transition into the water phase of life. This is a quiet and reflective time of life where one should appreciate all that she has accomplished and experience more joy in the simple pleasures of life. Everything lost is found again, in a new form, in a new way. Everything hurt is healed again, in a new time, in a new day. Change is, touch is, touch is, change is. Change us, touch us, change us.